Hello, and welcome to another episode of Break into College. I'm your host, Lavetta Jenkins, the Outreach and Wellness Coordinator for Barrier Breakers. Today, I am speaking with Erin Hanna, the Director of Outreach and Partnerships at Bay Atlantic University in the nation's capital, along with Renee McKee, BAU's Director of Student Services. We're going to talk all about their wonderful campus right there in the nation's capital that's not going to break the bank to get the best education. Welcome, Erin and Renee.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Listen, I'm so excited to have you both today. Now, Erin, you are the Director of Outreach and Partnerships. So, of course, I want to ask you this first. Tell me all about Bay Atlantic University and what you like most about it.
Thank you for inviting us. I'm happy to be here. Bay Atlantic University is a very unique university in downtown DC. We are close to the White House. Um, we're close to lots of different amenities in DC. And so the location is unique, but what makes, I think, our university unique is that we offer a very high quality education without the premium price of higher education. And so our focus is on providing students with opportunities to be earn degrees that make them career ready, that are affordable, and that give them opportunities that to learn skills that support their degree. So not only are they graduating again with a degree, but they've learned opportunities and skills that support it that make them ready to enter the workforce.
Mm.
And I think we're also unique in that as a small university, the students have a lot of access to their faculty and the different staff. They have a lot of interaction with the different departments and the different professors at the university. And we offer quite a few resources that are available. We try to make everything available to all the students. So and I think that's what interested me when I came to Bay Atlantic University, because it was, I think, different from my understanding and my knowledge of specifically the universities in Washington, D.C., because we have a lot of large universities here, big name universities that also have a very large student population. It's like a small city.
Mhm.
And I think Bay Atlantic is a little more, I don't know if boutique is the appropriate word, but it's specifically designed so that it doesn't become, it's not supposed to be an overwhelming setting for the students. It's
Mm. I think
very
that's what I like too,
accessible.
Erin. I
Mhm.
think that's what I like too, is the fact that it wasn't necessarily an overwhelming and big kind of looming university, but they really did get to experience more hands-on the
Mhm.
STEM and the tech and the AI and things that they wanted, but also your class size isn't overwhelming to the fact that, a student wouldn't be able to speak with a professor. Is that right?
Correct. I think our largest class might be 33 students, and even then we try to avoid that class size. It's just if it's a popular program or a particular class at a particular time that students want to take, but we try to keep our classes at about 20 students at the most.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. Now,
Mhm.
Renee, speaking all about students, you as the Director of Student Services, tell me what it's like for a student day to day on the campus of Bay Atlantic University.
Yeah, so like Erin said, a typical day for students, they come in, they have their classes, they have an opportunity to interact and cooperate with their professors in a meaningful way. For instance, we have a new club called Tech Connect, and they've been working very closely with the heads of the IT department. They're attending summits. They participated in a competition last week, a hackathon, and came in third place.
Wow.
And this was all with, 100% cooperation with the teachers and the
Mhm.
faculty. I'm a native Washingtonian. I did my undergraduate studies at American University, and I did my graduate studies at Georgetown. I also took classes in Washington, D.C. They have a consortium where you can take classes
Mhm.
at the different universities here. And so I've firsthand, I've seen like those classes that can't get into because there's
Right.
no space. You're studying international relations at American University, so you can forget it. But that just doesn't happen at BAU. Um, really having access to administration, career services is part of my wheelhouse. And so students just walk into my office with no appointment, sit down in my chair and say, help me find a job. And I sit there and I help them. And that's because we're so small. I know Anar, I know that he is studying big data analytics, and I kind of have a sense of his personality
Hmm.
because I've been interacting with him for the last, 2 to 3 years. And so I think it's just really difficult to get that touch in other places. And particularly with the economy the way that it is now,
Hmm.
that's so important to be able to feel like you can walk in and have that support.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Renee mentioned the economy, Aaron, and I'm going to ask you this question because I've heard that you have probably one of the best services for students in that DMV area called the DMV Scholarships Program, something to that nature. Tell me about that.
Yes. We have, as we mentioned, we're trying to put the premium of our university on the quality of the education, and so that students graduate with the ability to enter the workforce without debt. We
Hmm.
don't want them entering their professional lives with a large loan. I'm sure, we all have to deal with car loans and other types of loans. And so we think a loan for your higher education should not be part of that.
Hmm.
So the DMV, it's called DMV tuition assistance, DMV meaning the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, but it is available to US citizens around, countrywide. We just named it after our location. And it's up to 60% off of the tuition. And up to refers to, I think that the higher levels apply to, higher GPA students who
Hmm.
are coming in showing they've, been committed in throughout their high school career. But, it's really for students who meet criteria and are interested. Um, it's available, and it's listed on our website, and also to go through to start the admissions process. It's relatively easy. It's just the admissions link on our website, which is
Mm.
bau.edu.
Yeah, it's probably
So,
no simplest. I have not seen a simpler website, and it just kind of rhymes, so it's easy to remember, bau.edu. Now, Renee, for parents who are a little, I would say, apprehensive about, letting their child go to a college in Washington, DC, because, we hear a lot about it. Washington, DC is a big city, but a small city at the same time. It's a lot of hustle and bustle, a lot going on. Tell us about the housing and things like that to really put parents' minds at ease.
So we do have student housing available. The pricing starts from at $700 up to $1,100. We have different room types to choose from. We also work with a partner called Forstay to find if students are interested in off-campus housing, or maybe they would prefer to live with someone else somewhere else. They can work with this partner to
Mhm.
secure those locations as well. And of course, they've all been vetted, and they can ask for an additional background check if they'd like, if they're renting from private landlords, for that extra layer of security.
Hmm. I like that idea. So, do they get the chance to live off campus if they want to, or like outside of student housing if they want?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hmm. So how would they go about finding an apartment if, they decided, what, it's my last year. I want to live my senior life and not live anywhere close to campus or, in student housing. How would they find an apartment?
They're welcome to, use the normal resources that everyone else uses, like Zillow, but we also have a website called Forstay, and we've partnered with their estate agents, and they have a repository of housing. You can go there. It kind of looks exactly like Airbnb. I can share that link with you. And you can just put in the length of your stay, what kind of accommodation you're looking for. If you're looking for maybe a private room in a house, if you're looking for, a whole apartment, whatever your conditions are, that the price range that you're looking for, and then you can see all of the options that are available. And as mentioned before, since we are partnered with them, we're a university, all of the housing available, the landlords and the management companies have been vetted by that estate agency. And if you want an extra layer of security, you can request a specific background check on a landlord before you move in, just to be sure. And it's specifically for students or interns who are coming to visit the city.
So this is amazing. There's been some serious due diligence done here to make sure that everyone is safe. And I, as a parent who's once had to send my child away to college, I love that. Thank you from the parents. Now,
And
Erin,
just to add
Oh,
on to that, in
yeah.
our student housing, just to speak to additional security, we do have guards on duty, and we have armed guards on duty as well, who have body cams and do patrols, just to add that extra layer.
okay, yeah, you just set every helicopter mom's mind at ease, mine included, because, just because, you hear things about, especially if you're coming from a smaller city, you hear things about bigger cities, and parents are always just a little nervous, and you want to make sure your child is going to be safe because for a lot of parents, that might be your only child or your first child to go away, and you just want to be a little hyper vigilant, and that really adds to a parent's sense of security, and I know that would have put my mind at ease. So I thank you from all the helicopter moms. I thank you for that. Now, Erin, I do have a question for you because I heard that you have two new centers there that are coming to fruition at BAU. Tell me about those.
Yes, thank you for asking because we're very excited about them. One is called the Cyber Edge Innovation Hub, and it is going to house, it's actually where all of our IT programs will be, classes will be taught there. And it has specific facilities for the different IT programs. So there's going to be cybersecurity. There's cybersecurity equipment, and so that's all that training for that degree will be held. We will have an AI and robotics lab, also networking, cloud computing, and then also just our software engineering, all of our various data analytics. I should go back and give a summary in that we do have for bachelor's programs, we have two Bachelors of Science programs. One is in information technology and the other is in software engineering.
Mhm.
And then most of our Masters of Science, most of our STEM degrees are in master's programs. And so we have Masters of Science in cloud computing, software engineering, data science, big data analytics, cybersecurity. We have a dual degree in data analytics to go with our MBA. We have our MBA, and we have a new interesting degree that is called data science and public policy. So it's combining a STEM degree with a non-STEM degree, and I think it's an interesting degree program, or an interesting program in general, because it's combining the use of science and evidence and using data to help inform public policy decisions or to help, assess the outcome of policy decisions. So we've got a lot of really, I think, just really exciting resources. And again, within the Cyber Edge, it's actually one entire floor of our building where all the equipment is located. All the classes will be held, and I think just lots of exciting learning opportunities for students. The other center is called the Center for Innovation and Global Entrepreneurship, and that has been designed just to help students learn to cultivate business ideas if they have an existing idea. As I think Renee mentioned when we were discussing earlier, that a lot of our students have experience on social media. I know a lot of students are already selling things online. They're very active. And so this is not necessarily just for online businesses, but it's to help students
Mhm.
take a concept and create a business plan and then activate it. And we're also then going to combine that with our Cyber Edge Innovation Hub to help students with tech entrepreneurship. And that also matches a lot of the industry in DC. DC's got a very active tech industry and a very active startup industry.
Mhm.
And we can talk later. We're going to be participating in a conference about that very soon. So we have those two starting, and then we also have a media lab that we'll be setting up to, again, help students learn more skills, you know, practice their social media skills and maybe take it to a more of a professional level.
Mhm.
Either, what our plan is to offer training programs for the students to help them improve their video production skills, their editing skills, but also learning about metrics. How do
Mhm.
you, create an audience? How do you monetize something? How do you get someone to stop their scroll and look at your feed?
Mhm.
Um, and so we're just excited about being able to create these resources for students and convert those into opportunities that will support their degree
Mhm.
and give them that hands-on learning that they can take anywhere. And again, it was a lot of these are definitely from the interest of our faculty and responding to the interests of the students, and faculty also being proactive and understanding industry, understanding where the tech field is growing, understanding the tech industry in DC and wanting to offer that to our students.
Mhm. So I'm thinking that, with the powers that be, I guess we could say, or the instructors really reading the room of where tech and AI and cybersecurity is all going. I think that them being able to do that has really made the program even more beneficial for students who want to be involved in STEM and cybersecurity because they're able to forecast and kind of see where things are going and then aim all of the coursework in that direction to make sure that it is a more fulfilling career and not just, some parents would see it as a hobby, but this is actually a good career field, wouldn't you say?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
That's what I was thinking. So, Renee, what is one thing that you would say you've noticed students really love about coming to BAU?
Yeah, I think that they really like the fact that it's such an international campus.
Mhm.
We have students from over 50 countries. When you're walking around the school, in addition to our degree programs, we also have a really robust ESL program.
Mhm.
And so when you walk through the halls, you can hear Turkish, you can hear Hindi, you can hear French, you can hear all these different countries, all these different languages. And as student services, we have different celebrations, we have different events. So every year we have like an iftar dinner, for instance, and we invite all of the students and we usually cater it with this really amazing Egyptian restaurant. So
Mm.
they get to enjoy that kind of food. We celebrated Songkran, which is a Thai water festival. So we were all running around outside, like shooting each other with water guns and like making ways. So you really get to bring the world to your doorstep. And if you want to experience that, we have our sister university in Istanbul, and it's possible to go and study, as part of an exchange program at Bahçeşehir University. So it's just so great because I know I studied abroad in university, and it really changed my perspective on everything, the way that I saw things, because I was a second generation college student. Like my parents went to college, and then there was just me.
Mhm.
And so that sort of foundation that my parents built on, I was able to take it a step further and I did a semester in Paris, I did a semester in Copenhagen, and I did a semester in London.
Mm.
And really it was transformative. And so having that opportunity to soft launch the culture shock, because you're
Mhm.
surrounded with those people, maybe you even get to learn a little bit of the language, and to then go out is a great opportunity. And to that end, even we have I think Erin mentioned our media room. We have a YouTube channel, and right now we're focused on making videos to make our students who are coming from abroad more comfortable. So
Mhm.
you can check out our channel. We have information on Thailand, Colombia, and Turkey. If you find yourself in DC, you want to enjoy some Turkish food, watch our video. You can find all the great restaurants, all the great Thai restaurants. So that's definitely something that we like to involve all of our students in if they enjoy content creation. Mhm.
And I think that to the point that I had made when I was speaking with Aaron, letting the scholars, run the YouTube channel really helps them understand, the metrics of it, and that YouTube can be, older people would kind of shy away from it, but YouTube actually can be a really lucrative career if you know how to edit and record and you know how to understand the metrics of it all. So, this isn't just, kids playing around with cameras anymore. This is actually a career that can be built and fleshed out and really, kind of um, you can build an empire on by attending classes at BAU. Now, Aaron, I know that you have, a very big, kind of job that you do every day as director of, outreach and partnerships. But what is the one thing that you would say you're looking for most, you're looking forward to most from, being connected with BAU for the next year? What do you think is coming in the next year, and what are you looking for most?
I'm really looking forward to all the partnerships that we'll be creating to support these new centers because, and ultimately to support the students. The whole point of these centers, the purpose is again to create a resource for the students, something to really enhance their experience as a student and to give them additional learning opportunities. I think help them realize that you can be, a lifelong learner even while you're getting your your formal degree. And we have already started making some very interesting partnerships in the tech world from um, from a conference that we recently participated in. Renee mentioned it. It was called DevFest. Excuse me, DevFest. It was the Google Developer Group conference where we had students volunteering. They were helping at the registration desk. They were participating in the hackathon, and they were attending. Talks. We're also going to be participating in the upcoming DC Startup and Tech Week
Mm.
in October 20th to 24th, which is exciting because it combines what we discussed, that there's a really vibrant tech, just the technology industry, but also the startup industry,
Mm.
and that contribution of, or that combination of technology supporting entrepreneurs and entrepreneurism. And it's this conference is 10 years old. I think it started initially as just a startup week, and then the last few years they combined the technology in response to the way I think businesses were interacting,
Mhm.
um, the way business verticals were growing, and so we're going to be giving our students a chance to participate in this also. That's what's fun, and because I learn about opportunities, and I work with my colleagues like Renee to create ideas, bounce ideas off of each other.
Mhm.
What would be the best for our students? What do we think they would be interested in? What kind of opportunities can we create for them? And the students are also creating opportunities for BAU because they're our ambassadors. And when they participate in these events, from either showing their technical prowess
Mhm.
to volunteering at the registration desk, it demonstrates their interpersonal skills, it demonstrates their professionalism,
Mhm.
their willingness, and I think enjoyment of interacting with other people. And so working with the students, we're creating new ideas. So that's what I like about my job, because we're strategic in some ways and then just see opportunistically what does that bring about, and how does that inspire the students to help us,
Mhm.
help us to help them. What are ideas, that opportunities that we can bring to them. So that's what's fun. And actually, while I was talking about Renee, I wanted to say, working with our colleagues, just referring back to your questions about finding housing in DC,
Mhm.
Renee created a fantastic housing guide for students who want to find an apartment on their own. So for
Awesome.
every neighborhood in DC, she described the neighborhood, listed the average rental rates, and then
Mhm.
matched that to the metro lines so the students could learn public transportation and understand the location in reference to BAU. And it's an extremely user-friendly and creative guide. So
Mhm.
that's just an example. That's why I have fun going in and working with my creative colleagues and students every day.
Yeah. And, you know, I think that that just speaks, it attests to Renee's commitment to the students
Mhm.
because you can't find too many people who would put together something like that. And then pretty much it's hand holding without the hand holding
Mhm.
because here I've shown you how to find the apartment in your price range. And I've also shown you how to get to and from. But, and you can take that and go on your own and feel like you have someone there with you, even though, you know, we're an adult now. We don't necessarily need hand holding, but it's emotional hand holding to know that somebody went through, you know, a labor of love to create this for me, and now I don't feel like I'm just wandering the city lost, and I might actually get lost because Renee has put that together. Renee, what made you decide to come up with that guide to help the students?
I'm a native Washingtonian. You know, my mother was born in DC, my grandmother was born in DC. And if you read some of the ads, you just cannot tell. In most cities, you can tell what kind of neighborhood you're moving to by the price. In DC, no. It could be very expensive, but also very bad. Like that's not really Capitol Hill. So these sorts of pitfalls that you can fall into in the real estate market in any city,
Mhm.
I just wanted to help the students to understand because most of our, as we've said, you know, we have a lot of international students, and
Mhm.
so American students, you know, you have this sort of assumed knowledge. But for someone coming from, you know, some small town in Vietnam, you know,
Mhm.
maybe they need to know that like, these are the pros and cons of this neighborhood.
Right.
And so you can weigh that accurately, and know
Mhm.
that the information you're getting is honest. You
Mm,
know,
I love that. So, just like I asked Aaron, Renee, I'm going to ask you, what are you most looking forward to in your position in the next year working with BAU, especially with the students? What are you most looking forward to?
well, my job as student services director, my whole job is about the students. Everything outside of the classroom is in my wheelhouse, and I'm really excited about working with the students. Most of my team are actually students. So I have a lot of student workers who work with me. Our YouTube channel, the manager is actually a student who works with us in the student services department. And so watching them, you know, follow their interests and supporting them and those getting ready for those careers. They're all graduating in May, so I'm going to see them all go forth into the world. But you know, Mauricio is into filmmaking, so he's taking that portfolio, that body of videos that he created for us, to his next assignment to show what he can do. You know, Noma has been working with Africa Connect and doing a lot of event planning to go into her new career. And so that's what I really like doing, working with the students and supporting them and getting that like hands-on real world experience before they go out into the world. So they have that experience on their resumes in addition to no debt when
Right.
we send them out. So
Right.
they have the education, the hands-on experience, and you know the motivation to go forward. So yeah, I really look forward to that.
I love that. And I also love the fact that they're going out into the world with little to no debt. I love that. So, for anyone out there, parent, student, the like, how what would they do if they wanted to know more about the college, or if they wanted to, you know, take a tour, or if they wanted to apply? Where would they go? Either one of you can answer that question.
I'll start. I'll say the most direct way is to go to our website, bau.edu. You can read about the admissions process. You can read about our programs. And under the admissions tab, there's a link to click to start the admissions process. And you can also email it's admissions@bau.edu to ask questions. Can speak to one of our admissions counselors. Can speak to our admissions director, or if there's specific questions, they will then gather the information from the relevant faculty or staff. So if students have specific questions about one of the degree programs or just information in general, they can be directed to the appropriate staff. So we'll get them the specific information and rather than just a general response. Okay. We also have some very interesting, we've got the question, the facts, the FAQ facts page that if you want just quick information before you contact someone, I think our website is very user friendly, set up very well, anticipates the questions that students will have, and has the information readily available. Okay. And you can also speak to an actual person as well.
And that makes a lot of sense. So, Renee, what kind of student do you think will do well at BAU?
I think any student could do well at BAU. It's a small, as we've said, it's small enough for you to feel like you're not lost, but it's big enough for you to get lost if that's what you want to do. Mm-hmm. You can, like we were talking about before, we have lots of events. We just came back from Niagara Falls. We had a 4-day, 3-night trip through Niagara Falls for the students. We're about to go on another overnight at the end of the month. You can join those trips and events so you can be as involved as you want to be if you want to have like that traditional college experience, or if you prefer to sort of do your own thing, live in the city and kind of live your own life, there's space to do that too. So I think anyone could be supported at BAU. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I can't even imagine, having all of this at your fingertips, being in a big city, but not getting lost unless you want to, and being able to graduate with little or no debt. I'm looking forward to, hearing all the testimonials that come out of BAU, just because I know there have got to be many. And I know that the YouTube channel is going to grow, and that is going to be somebody's in to the really big media industry. So I'm really looking forward to that. Any parting words that any of you have before we conclude our episode?
In addition to visiting the website, you could also feel free to come and visit our building at 1510 H Street. We're right next to the White House. We'd love to have you. We'll take you for a little tour of the city and also introduce you to all of our great new programs.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I agree. Awesome. Yeah, with what Renee and DC is it has a lot to offer. So you're honestly just literally right outside the doors of the campus. So that's what we like to let people know. There's a lot to do at our university and in the DC and the surrounding area. So come and explore.
What a great thing. Come and explore. Thank you both so much for being our guest today. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. We had a lot of fun.
Okay.